Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about Detroit in today's video. I think tomorrow, preseason game number 2 for Detroit Lions here. Excited for that one. I saw that Ennis Rakestraw is having surgery or just had surgery done, and I keep seeing all the social media stuff and the Twitter stuff and all this, and I wanted to first off say that absolutely sucks. Ennis Rakestraw injury doesn't look good. I don't have an update for you guys as far as when he's coming back or anything like that, but the road to recovery is beginning. So whether you look at Rashawn Slater, who just got carted off at the time of this recording, I think it literally just happened, so I don't have an update for him either, like if he's done for the season or if they ended up getting lucky with that one. Who's the other? Oh, CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think got carted off today in practice. I believe there was another big one, but maybe I'm mistaken. So it's like the first week of August, and you keep seeing these injuries, and it really made me think two things. First off, I think the Detroit Lions' depth is very good. We look at that injury specifically to Ennis Rakestraw, and it sucks because, he dealt with injuries last season. Very similar, at least as far as, didn't really play much. And I look at Rocky Ya-Sin and that rookie or that first game he had in the Hall of Fame game for Detroit, and it makes me feel a lot better. And then I even look, a little bit deeper, and if you guys know, I'm a huge Lions secondary supporter right now because I think that DJ Reed move was so literally under the radar. It's not even funny. I think Amik Robertson, been watching him play for Las Vegas the last few years, obviously really comes alive for you guys at the end of last season. Really like that move as well. Terrion Arnold, the way I view Terrion's season was his rookie season, he struggled early, specifically with like holding calls or pass interference, and as the season went on, he got better and better. So I look at like DJ Reed, and I think he's one of the actual best cornerbacks, coverage cornerbacks in the National Football League. And then I look at Terrion Arnold, who's entering year 2, feeling good about that because we know how this Lions team develops their players. I feel good with Amik Robertson. I like Rocky Ya-Sin, and then for some reason, I don't know what's going on. I don't really hear anybody talk about Avonte Maddox, because like I said, a few years ago, this kid was on his way to becoming, a big-time deal in the National Football League at a young age. So anyways, injuries suck, and they always happen, and I just kind of wanted to riff off of that because Detroit truly got shafted from injuries last season, and I'm not using it as an excuse, because a lot of other teams also got shafted by injuries. The Lions was a little bit unideal because I swear they all just came defensively. Like it just felt like literally every injury they had was some defensive starter, and they're always catastrophic. Aiden Hutchinson at the beginning of the year, and the list went on, and then even as the end of the season, like even Carlton Davis, Alex Anzalone, it's just like, this is insane. The Lee McNeil, it just keeps happening. How is this humanly possible? One thing I really noticed about the Lions, especially defensive roster construction right now, is their depth. Last year, there were a lot of players that people didn't even know, Lions fans included, because they were decimated by injuries. And so you would have these guys like Al-Qadim Muhammad or, Pat O'Connor or, other names, etc. And the backups look really good. And like I said, those two guys were bad examples. Like Pat O'Connor and Muhammad are bad examples because Muhammad, he's probably like defensive edge number 2, at least somewhere behind Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, on his side of the football, not because of Marcus Davenport or Josh Paschal or anything like that. So, I've been making Lions videos all summer, all spring. That one kid, Roy Lopez. These are the players that the Detroit Lions have a really good eye for, right? And those players I was just mentioning, Muhammad and Pat O'Connor, what have you, the thing is, they're still good football players, obviously. But because of all the injuries, they were asked to do way too much, way too often, right? So Roy Lopez is technically playing behind DJ Reader. Now, I think Roy Lopez is a phenomenal move, but you get what I'm saying. It's like the starters get hurt, even second-year guys get hurt, and now you're looking at three stringers and 2 stringers, and they're just being asked to do way too much. When I look at a kid like Roy Lopez, this guy is so good in run defense. Like, he is truly so good at run defense. So this floor, the defensive floor as far as talent goes, I think it's just been raised astronomically. Rock Ya-Sin now, Avonte Maddox, Tyleek Williams, Zach Cunningham, Roy Lopez. I just think this defensive floor got way better. And like I said, not that they didn't have this talent on defensive depth last season. It just feels those guys are like supplementary players. And if DJ, God forbid, has to miss a month of football, well, I feel good with Roy Lopez coming in. But the Lions were just historically injured. So I feel like none of that really made that much sense, but it's okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about OC, because the Lions, or actually John Gruden, came out here and he was talking about John Morton, the new offensive coordinator for Detroit, and he was saying, you're going to love this guy. You know, I think he like compared him to him as far as like energy, grit, just the love for football. And clearly, and I know I've probably talked about it a little bit too much as well, people overstate coordinators' loss all the time, you know, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's Detroit, whether it's Baker Mayfield's offensive coordinators, whatever it is, people really freak out when a coordinator is gone. And I've been watching ESPN and, FS1 this week and whatever, and people are like, well, maybe they're going to be good coordinators, but, John Morton's not going to be, Ben Johnson. And I'm watching some of these tweets, and I'm seeing guys like J-Mo do his thing. I'm watching Jahmyr Gibbs highlights. I'm watching Tim Patrick get brought back. I'm watching Tesla highlights. I'm watching Lovett highlights. I'm watching these guys play week 1 in preseason. John Morton really seems like a great move. And this is something I would preach a little bit more right when it first happened, because Lions fans, you guys were freaking the F out when Ben Johnson went to go be the head coach for the Chicago Bears. Good coaches hire good coaches, right? And I don't know about you, but I view Dan Campbell as a very good NFL coach, and he's got connections, and people like him, and he likes other people, and then he goes out there and gets them to the staff, right? So you see John Morton, you see Kelvin Shepard, you see, Kelvin obviously promoted internally, John Morton coming from Denver. Good coaches hire good coaches. So this isn't Lions fans, but when I view say I'm watching something on ESPN or FS1 and they're like, well, I don't know. Is their identity going to be the same? The flashiness isn't going to be there. I trust Dan Campbell a lot. And I even get some Lions fans in here saying, well, you know what, man, I've been a fan for 60 years. I know BS when I see it, and that's what the Lions' last few years were. This year's not going to be good. I don't know. I just trust Dan Campbell. I trust him to hire the right coaches, promote the right coaches, and I think John Morton and Kelvin Shepard, I think these guys know damn well what they're doing. So, I don't know, this is kind of like a little riff off the dome with injuries and coordinator video, because preseason game 2 is tomorrow, so we'll see you at some point tomorrow night. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for a couple of Lions videos every single week. If you guys have anything you want me to do, let me know down below, and we'll see you soon.